Hey crazies, welcome back to the channel, Crazy Over Parties. So before we get started, you guys make sure that you like, subscribe, share the channel with other creators, family, friends, anyone that you know that loves a good DIY project or just wants to learn more decor tutorials. Share the page with them, it helps us out and we really appreciate it. And make sure you hit that bell at the top to turn on the notifications so that you don't miss when we post a new video. All right, now that all that's out the way, today we are building a balloon garland. So I have a client, she sent me an inspiration picture for her garland, which I am gonna post so you guys can see it. I plan on personally adding a little bit more details or just a little bit more to make it my own so it can just have a little bit more pizzazz. It's already a really nice picture, but I want to add a little bit to it so that it can be my own feel or my own inspiration. So I'm going to share with you guys the colors that we're using today as well as my techniques. And I'm going to post some more videos about balloon garlands so you guys can just see how I do them, how you can create your own and add other little details to it. So before we get started, first things first, I'm going to share the colors with you. Okay guys, so these are the colors that we'll be using for this install. I'm not necessarily showing the sizes because I have so many balloons just placed everywhere that it would be a headache for me to separate everything. But I'll list the sizes that I'm using below and I will show the colors now. So we're using Tough Text White, Tough Text Cameo, Tough Text Blush. We're going to use Gemar Shiny Gold, Qualitex Chrome Gold, Qualitex Mocha Brown, and Tough Text Coco. I plan on double stuffing my blush with white balloons just so I can have a different effect on the color. I'm going to do a video on double stuffing later, so stay tuned for that. Let's start blowing up our balloons and let's get this garland installed. All right, guys, so I finally made it to my client's home. And I first started with putting my backdrop stand together. These backdrop stands come in two pieces, so it's easy to transport. Once you're on site, you can simply just put the pieces together and screw them, and boom, you have whatever shape backdrop you purchased. If you're new to balloons, I suggest getting one or two of these to practice on to save damage from your walls. I know when I first started, I caused a lot of damage on my walls just trying to figure out how to do a wall install and what proper hangers to use for it. I got the backdrop stand all put together and I was placing it against the wall where I thought my client would want it to go. We were using this for photos, a photo backdrop for her uncle's 60th birthday. Once I got it together, I noticed that I had my white screws on the outside and not necessarily on the inside against the wall where I wanted them to be. So I took the backdrop stand back down and I turned it, or I unscrewed it and put them back together. It didn't take me long, but those screws being on the outside just really irritated me. So I figured, let me just fix it for the peace of mind. Once I got it all back in position, I started blowing up my balloons. The trick to blowing up the perfect balloon is not putting too much air inside. You can put a lot of air from the beginning, take some out, and push it against your legs. Pressing it against something just gives it the perfect round shape. Here you can see I didn't put as much air in that left balloon, but it had a pear shape to it, and I hate pear-shaped balloons. So simply just take all the air that you put in out the first time and then blow it up again, and you'll get that perfect round shape that leaves your garland perfect. I continued to blow up balloons until I felt like I had enough for this backdrop. Tying the balloons together, I typically tie my balloons in sets of 4s and quads. I like to work with quads better than working with, I know some people do too, but I like to have them in sets of 4 because one, I feel like you don't have to fill in so many gaps. And two, you just start off with a bigger garland from the beginning. Here I'm using my Qualitex Gold, my chrome gold balloons. I love the chrome gold. I love a shiny gold. I'm not a big fan of the like matte color ones, but this gold was perfect for this garland, for this project. And you see here, that's a 17-inch balloon, and I did the same thing. Inflate the balloon, take a little bit out, press it against your leg or your floor, and you'll have the perfect balloon. I got that pear-shaped balloon again, and I took the air out and I re-inflated it. I'm showing you guys here how to tie the balloons together. If you tie two, you can get another set of two, and you just wrap them around each other to get yourself that 4 quads. So for my 5-inch balloons, I sometimes use sets of 4, and sometimes I'll use sets of 6 or sets of 3. I mix and match. There's no right or wrong way when you're creating. As long as your garland looks good to you and you're good to your client, you're good to go. I'm about to begin double stuffing my balloons. So for this, I used my blush Tough Text balloon, and I placed a white Tough Text balloon on top. I'm going to show the color difference in them, and I hope you guys can see it. Double stuffing the balloons just help give you these pretty colors that you sometimes may not be able to buy outright. So double stuffing them, you can create the color that your client may need, one, and honestly, they just look better when they're double stuffed. Sometimes even if I just need a simple red balloon, I still double stuff it just so it'll be the perfect color of red. I'm going to do a video on double stuffing at a later time, just in case someone needs it, or if you want to learn how to double stuff and the benefits of it, stay tuned for that. I have that coming soon. And this was those bags of balloons I told you guys I had. I have balloons everywhere. So you blow up your double stuffed balloons the same way. Press it against your leg, take some of the air out, make them in twos, tie 2 together, and then get another set of 2 and tie it together. So you have that set of 4. Next, I'm going to show you guys the color comparison between the double stuffed blush with white balloon and just the blush balloon as it comes out the pack. You can see here, this is the blush, and then I'm going to show the blush with the white. So you can see it's just a little bit in the color difference. You can tell which one has the white on top and which one is just a straight blush. So my client did not like how low the backdrop stand was on the floor. It was about 5 feet. So we decided to use a bin and a rug to make it sit higher. When you're event planning or doing balloons, sometimes you got to think quick on your toes to get that client that perfect look. And I felt like this rug with the picture that she sent just added a perfect, or added an extra detail to what she wanted. So I felt like it would work perfectly. I began with tying my balloons to the backdrop stand. So with this, I am not one to build my balloon garlands before I hang them. I like to build them in pieces because I don't really get the variations in the shapes when I build it before. And that's probably just something I personally need to work on. So here I put some of my balloons directly on the backdrop stand, and others I tied with the 260. When you're doing your balloons, the best thing that you could have to put your balloons together is a 260. I don't use fishing line anymore because it has a tendency to rip my balloons, but with a 260, you're good to go. So I tied that blush balloon with the 260, and then you see I'm wrapping the 260 around the white balloon so it'll sit up there perfectly. And if you don't like the way it looks in the beginning, it's a balloon. Just simply play with it until you get it into the position that you want it in. As long as you're not using a glue dot, you should be able to move your balloons until you get it where it needs to go. Here with this Coco Brown balloon, I'm going to place that directly on the backdrop stand. So I just simply put that 4x4 on the backdrop stand itself. So that's what I was saying. Each piece I did a different way so that it could sit differently. I didn't want it to all just kind of sit in the same position. And you can see why I did that here, because you can see that the blush kind of sits out, or it sits out a little bit further than the Mocha Brown, than it being directly on the stand. And that different shape is kind of what I wanted for my garland. I had to blow up some more 5-inch balloons. This garland, I decided that I wanted to have like sets of 8 to 10 5-inch balloons. So I kind of made a couple of them large to just show the detail in the smaller balloons. So I'm going to keep adding balloons here. Like I said, I'm going to add some with 260s, and then I'm going to continue to add some on the backdrop stand itself. You can already see that those sets of 8 to 10 5-inch balloons really made a big difference in my garland already. It kind of just gave it some extra detail, and I love a good detail. So here I got my backdrop stand, or my balloons, all together, and I started adding my leaves. When you're adding your leaves, you want to make sure, or your flowers, you want to make sure that you put something so they're secure. Either a glue dot, or you can tie them with a 260 if you don't want to have like damage. I shouldn't say damage, maybe like glue on your flowers. Just tie them with a 260 where you want it to go. Doing balloons, you will see that 260s are your best friends. They work with everything. I had to take a step back to see if I needed to add balloons anywhere else. I felt like I wanted the bottom to be a little bit more dramatic. So I decided to blow up some more balloons and just add them at the bottom to give a finishing look. Here, I decided to, instead of using a 260, I used a glue dot. And you can see the final results. I got the happy birthday sign in the middle, the leaves. I added a little bit of greenery on the pedestal for her. And voila, there you have it. If you guys have any tips for me or having a comment, leave it below. I will look at them. I love to hear what other creators or anyone just starting out has to say. It helps me and it helps others that may be starting or may be in the industry for a while, and we may just need some tips. So until next time, you guys take care, be safe, and thanks for watching.